Looking for the latest comic book to add to your collection? How about the last card for that Magic the Gathering Commander deck? Well, the comic book stores got you covered. Shop online at comicbookstore.tcgplayerpro.com or come in person at 30 North Main Street, Glassboro, New Jersey. Welcome back, pizza people. We actually have a tournament winning deck for you today. In our video, this is actually the deck list that took down our PizzaBox Open Explore event this past August 14th. All I can say is this deck is quite grindy, and there are quite a lot of decisions to be made in this deck if you've never played it. If you're used to Explorer, though, you know that this is one of the main decks that you're going to see all the time, so let's dive right into it here. Essentially, the deck is built around an engine that revolves around Witch's Oven, Cauldron Familiar, and then if you have like a Mayhem Devil down, you're going to essentially ping and drain your opponent out of the game or wipe their whole board out. So let's go over the cards here. We've got Cauldron Familiar, if you haven't seen it. 1 black, 1/1. When it enters the battlefield, each opponent loses a life and you gain a life. And then you can sacrifice a food to return it from your graveyard to the battlefield. How are we getting food, you say? Well, we're getting it from this Witch's Oven. 1 colorless artifact. Sacrifice a creature, create a food token. If the sacrificed creature's toughness was 4 or greater, you can create 2 food tokens instead. We have 4 Fatal Push for removal. 1 black, destroy target creature if it has mana value 2 or less, or destroyed if its mana value is 4 or less if a permanent you control left the battlefield. 2 Vigil's Rights for some extra card draw here. A black instant. Sacrifice a creature. Draw 2 cards. Claim the Firstborn. 1 red. You get to gain control of a target creature with mana value 3 or less until end of turn. Essentially turning it into a removal spell once you combo it out with the Witch's Oven, the Vigil's Rights, or the Deadly Dispute that we'll get to in a moment. We have 4 Unlucky Witness as well to kind of keep the cards going. The card advantage. 1 red, 1/1. Whenever this card dies, you get to exile the top 2 cards of your library. And then until your next end step, you can play one of those cards. So it's pretty decent if you can sacrifice it at the end of your opponent's turn, or if you block with it. Essentially, you'll still be able to use one of those cards on your following turn. Speaking of Deadly Dispute, from earlier, Deadly Dispute's 2 mana, 1 black colorless instant. As a additional cost, you sacrifice an artifact or a creature, so you can sacrifice one of your food tokens, or potentially maybe a treasure token from another Deadly Dispute, the blood token from the Bloodtithe Harvester. And then you get to draw 2 cards and then create a treasure, which is just phenomenal. It can help you either ramp into some of your other cards or kind of deal a lot of damage with the Mayhem Devil, which we'll get to here in a moment. Bloodtithe Harvester is here as well in the 2-drop slot, black-red. For a 3/2 vampire, when it comes in, you get to create a blood token, which is an artifact that you can pay a colorless, discard a card to redraw a card, and you can also sacrifice this card to give a creature -X/-X until on a turn where X is twice the amount of blood tokens you have. So essentially another interaction spell, and on top of that can be a pretty decent threat. At the 2 mana slot, it's an artifact to help sacrifice it a Deadly Dispute. It helps redraw. Just tons of value with this card overall. We also have 4 of the Mayhem Devils, which is part of essentially our engine, or can kind of help ping our opponent to death. Black-red 1, so 3 mana for a 3/3 Devil. Whenever a player sacrifices a permanent, so not just you, a player sacrifices a permanent, it deals 1 damage to any target. Just one of the best cards in your deck, and kind of just makes this deck essentially lethal. We also have 4 Nyxlis, a card that we necessarily haven't really seen too much around. There was quite a bit of hype, obviously, when this card was spoiled. We talked quite a bit about it on the channel as well, but this card has actually been showing up a lot more in the sacrifice type strategies, and for good reason. It's a colorless black-red for 3 loyalty. Casualty X, so essentially you can sacrifice a creature when you cast a spell, and then it enters the battlefield with that much starting loyalty. +1, each opponent loses 2, they discard a card. They lose 2 unless they discard a card, and if you control a demon or a devil, you gain 2 life. -2, you get to create a 1/1 red devil token with when it dies, it deals a damage to any target. And -7, target player draws 7 and loses 7 life. Overall, this card is just really great, really grindy, and it helps fit the theme of kind of just slowly draining your opponent's life total. Or just doing it in a few turns and gaining tons of incremental value. I've been really, really impressed with this card in this deck, and I think 4 is probably the right number going forward. In terms of our mana base, we have some extra lands here. A couple Hive of the Eye Tyrants, 2 Den of the Bugbears to kind of help give us a little bit of some reach. A Takenuma and a Sekenzan as well to kind of help, if we end up getting flooded or drawing these lates. Essentially, the Takenuma can get back a Ob, a Mayhem, Bloodtithe, even a Cat if you need it. Jurgigantha if you're looking for a big threat later in the game. So Kenzen can kind of give you some food for the Witch's Oven and the Obnixlich, which is great to kind of help even the Mayhem Devil go off if you have one of those down. For our sideboard, like I just stated, we got a Gigantha in the companion slot. Kind of just a great card overall. Big beefy threat, but on top of that, it kind of just helps your late game if you don't really have much else going on. 2 Voltage Surge to kind of help with the removal suite. Really good against humans as it's a cheap removal spell. And on top of that, it can help get rid of some powerful threats from like a fight rigging deck by just sacrificing a food token, a blood, a treasure that you kind of have laying around. 2 Noxious Grass to help against any type of white or green strategy that's essentially playing Planeswalkers or just some creatures overall to help against those aggressive decks, and even good against control where you're able to destroy Teferi or Wandering Emperor. 2 Croxus to help grind the game out, essentially making your opponent discard some cards, lose some life, and then on top of that, it comes back for that escape, which we all love. 4 Thoughtseize, which essentially 1 black to make your opponent discard a card of your choice, and then you lose 2 life for that. Anything that's non-land, of course, but just a very solid overall, and really good against specific strategies. You don't necessarily want to main deck it, because a lot of your deck is dependent on so much value that late game Thoughtseizes can kind of just be like game ending for you, rather than a positive impact in the game. 2 Unlicensed Hearse to help with the mirror match, or essentially like Grease Fan decks, anything that's using the graveyard. And then 2 Colligant commands to kind of help grind the game out or deal with opposing Witch's Ovens or anything like even a Grease Fang. And on top of that, you're able to make your opponents discard some cards or return, let's say, like a Mayhem Devil or Bloodtide Harvester if you need to. So overall, I had a blast playing this deck. I think that there's just tons of decisions that you need to make with it. It was our first place deck. I think that you can definitely take it to any tournament, and it's going to be really solid on the ladder as well. So let's go ahead and jump into some games. Playing some Catovan, first place deck from this past weekend's event, PizzaBox Open Explorer. Looks like we're going to be on the play. I actually think this hand's pretty decent. Got maybe like 1 more land than we'd like, but we do have a couple redraws with the Village Rites and even a redraw with the Blood Token if we need to. And on top of that, we have a pretty decent curve and some good lands as well. So definitely going to keep this hand. Start off with the Hive into the Cauldron Familiar. And then we'll potentially just play the Blood Tithe Harvester here. Our opponent did mulligan quite a few times, it looked like. 2 or 3 times potentially, maybe just not getting any lands. So if we can get like an oven going, anything like that, then you know, we're already adding a lot of pressure with what we have in our hand. So if they have like any kind of slow start, 1 land hand, anything like that, then they're going to be in a lot of trouble. Okay, 2 life, and they have the Mystic. And we do hit the oven, which is fantastic. So I think that we're just going to could play the Blight Step as a black source, I believe. Let's take a look here. Could even play it as a red. We have 2 red here, though. Yeah, I think that's fine. We'll go ahead and play the oven. Come in for damage. They're not going to block. And we'll pass it back. So essentially we can... Okay, a Rotting Regisaur. We may almost want to be even more patient with this Village Rites by blocking with the Cauldron Familiar on the Rotting Regisaur and then sacrificing it. Either way, I know that we want to do this. Just go ahead and bring it back. Get them down to 13. And we'll be a little bit more patient with them. We actually had to claim the Firstborn. So that actually makes our decisions like way easier this turn. So we're going to go ahead and claim here. Come in for 8 damage. And then Village Rites on the Rotting Regisaur to draw a couple more cards. So kind of had a pretty good start there against our opponent. Looks like they're potentially playing the Fight Rigging deck. What do we want against that? I feel like the claims are good. The pushes are already good. Potentially the Voltage Surge, just to make sure that we can kill the 4 toughness part of it. Get rid of a witness, maybe 1. Think about whether or not we want the noxious grass, but I don't believe so. Like, most of the time their threats that they're using to go off with the fight rigging are black, so like, yeah, we might want it against maybe like a Gargaroth. But if it's just going to sit in our hand until they try to fight rigging, it's not really going to be a card that's worth it. Obnixilus is decent here, but I think maybe we can just cut 1 considering that we're on the draw and we'll bring in the other Voltage Surge. Another argument could be made potentially now for the Croxus as well, simply because it gives us a good amount of late game and kind of plays a little bit of some of that grind game with them, but let's see, maybe even Thoughtseize. I think that this is fine though. We should be able to just chip away how we did right now against them, so I think we have enough removal spells as well. And this hand actually looks pretty decent, and we're definitely going to keep it here. We've got an Oven, Witness, the Rights, and the Push as cards that we can play already. And it looks like they have the Thoughtseize, so they're probably just going to take the Oven here, or the Mayhem Devil. Thanks so much for the raid, John. Really, really appreciate that. Welcome in, everybody. Thank you so much for that. And let's see here. So I think that we want to just start off with the Witness, not take any life here. And then we can use this Village Rights on the following turn, or the Fatal Push, depending on what our opponent plays. Okay, so they do have the Mystic here. Let's see if they have a follow-up play to that with the Thoughtseize. So it looks like they're still going to be able to take another good card here. Either the Village Rights or the Mayhem Devil. Okay, so they still decided on the Mayhem Devil here. We have the Blight Step to not take any damage. I think that's what we're going to have to do here. Just until my next end step, so I think we're just going to have to pass it back here. And it is the fight rigging. Okay. So I think we kind of have to be patient here with this Village Rights, I believe. They're going to pump up the Elf and then probably just attack. They don't have anything else going on. Okay, so no actual attacks here. I think we still just have to be patient. We have another Fatal Push. Okay, so double removal spell. We could kill the Mystic now. Still mostly concerned if they play something bigger and then try to get something for free here. So I think it's still worth it to just wait it out. We also get some value if we have to block as well. Okay, gonna pump that up. And they're gonna come in for 3 here. We're just gonna take it. Not really too worried about it. See if they play some bigger threats. 2 cards left in hand. They didn't play anything else. I feel like it's okay to kill this now. They're at 12. We can potentially just chip away at their life total here. Drawing the den was pretty nice there. We can just play that down. We'll come in for 1, put them down to 11. And just pass it back. And it does look like they have the shakedown heavy here. So we can actually fill his rights, our unlucky witness. Okay, deadly dispute and a voltage surge to the side. And we actually just have the fatal push here. So they don't get the free spell. Tap land, 1 card left, we get another fatal push. So we want a deadly dispute here, the blood token that the Blood Tithe Harvester provides. And I'd rather play the swamp so that we have access to a lot of mana. Another option right now would actually be to attack with the Den of the Bugbear, but I kind of like this setup a little bit more, and we actually get to use a lot of our cards, even holding up the Voltage Surge. Feels pretty good here. So we'll go ahead and do that. Sacrifice the blood token. Getting a claim here is pretty decent. I think we're just going to have to pass the turn back, though. Hope for the best here. We still have push to kill a big threat. Ooh, this has ward 2, though. So we actually won't be able to do it. Pretty good shout for them having a Reservoir Kraken here. So let's see what they get for free. We also can't take it with the claim. Okay. Aronis. So let's see here. We could tap this down, make a 1/1. Push the 1/1. That doesn't really seem all that good, though. Yeah, we don't want to do that. We get to take the Ronus, but we need a sacrifice card right now for it. Okay, another fatal push. So we can just fatal push the Kraken either way. Can we take the Ronus and attack? I don't think that we can. So let's just do this now. Target it. Pay for the ward. Oh, I'm so sorry. We needed to sacrifice the treasure token there. Completely blanked out on that. So let's actually do that now. Get rid of this so we can actually deal our opponent some damage here. So I apologize about that. Let's come in for 3. And let's play this tapped. Okay, they're going to cycle the Triome. This is going to become a 6/6, so it's getting closer. Ooh, they have the Regisaur here. Quite painful. Okay, put us down to 11, but we actually have them with the Claim the Firstborn either way, so pretty big mistake, but we're fortunate that we just happen to have the cards that we need right now to essentially just deal them lethal either way, so not necessarily completely punished there, considering that our opponent was down on a lot of cards, so got away with a big mistake, but you can definitely see the power of the deck already. Let's see how the rest of our matches go. Getting into some more games with some Catavan. See if we can throw that cat into the pizza oven here. Cook it up. Kill our opponent while we're at it too. Ooh, so we do have an oven and a mayhem devil, but no other early plays here. I think we're just going to have to go for the mulligan, potentially. It's kind of just like too much of a slow hand, I think. This is quite a bit better. I really like the claim. I'm not sure if it's better than the Ob Nixilis. It's kind of hard here, I think, deciding what we want to put back. We definitely want to keep this. We may just want it to be the Ob. Being on the draw, though, makes it a lot worse. And we do get some redraws with the Unlucky Witness. Or at least a couple more cards to look at. Could put a land back. It's a bit sketchy though. Even though you could say the same thing, like the witness could pretty much get us the land drop that we need. Yeah, maybe we do just try to go for it here. It could end up being like a greedy keep, but we get to have a super powerful card, a removal spell, and our engine going to a certain degree. So I think I like this more. Opponent did keep 7. Let's see what they're up to here. Okay, the courtyard. Into Dauntless Bodyguard. So it looks like we're up against humans here. We had a hive. We still want to play this as a red maybe, or do we just play the hive into the oven? We may want to claim later. I don't know if we want to claim soon. I like getting the witness down now, and then following it up with potentially the claim plus the witch's oven, depending on what they play. See if they have an aggressive start here. Okay, they do have the lieutenant. So I believe we're just going to have to take the 3 here. Got to be a little bit more patient with this unlucky witness, I think. Okay, we hit another witness, though. Either way, the land drop's going to end up being our hive. Could take the lieutenant. And then sacrifice it to the oven. Seeing as how that could potentially get out of control. We will probably have to block with the witness. So let's do that. Let's play the oven. We'll take the lieutenant here. It's a card that's more dangerous as the game progresses. If we take the 3-2, they potentially just sacrifice it and we don't really get too much value out of it either. So I think I like just making the food token here. I like being a little bit aggressive as well. I mean, I guess we can take one more hit here and then still have 2 unlucky witnesses. Obnixilis as well is essentially a lot better next turn if we have a body out on the battlefield as well. And it's kind of hard to think that we'd want some different cards other than this to play out next turn. That's pretty good from our opponent, though. They're able to give indestructible to the biggest creature on the battlefield here. And we're going to go down to 14. Drawing a Blood Crypt. Could play the other witness, like a tap land into the witness. Can also gain some life off the food if we really needed to. Collected Company could be coming down next turn from our opponent as well. Would we rather but then we run the risk of just burning through 2 cards here. I think we go for the witness play. And then we can Obnixilis on the following turn. And also make another food token to save up for our cats when we get to them later. Or the Mayhem Devils. Alright, so they do have the Collected Company here. So let's see what they hit. They already have 2 creatures down. If they hit Thales Lieutenants, it's going to be a bit difficult to come back. Okay, yep. Extraction Specialist into the Lieutenant, getting the other Lieutenant here. So it looks like our opponent just has a super fast start. We do have 2 blocks. I think we can take the 4 damage. Block the 5/4. Make a food token. Try to potentially hit some removal spells here. Okay, another Witness and a Haunted Ridge. So we've drawn quite a bit of our unlucky witnesses. Feeling a little bit unlucky ourselves. But it's alright. We still get to make a food token here. I can gain us a bit of life. Our best draws would be Fatal Push, claim the Firstborn. We could essentially take the Extraction Specialist and then gain some life and be able to attack in. But it's looking pretty rough right now. And another unlucky witness off the top here. So looks like we will just have to Ob Nixilis, make a token. And make them discard. We'll be able to gain some life. Or if there's a possibility we could end up wasting these draws here from the witness. Really looking for a cat here. Alright, and we ended up hitting the cat, which is just fantastic. So we'll go ahead and just do that. So at least that does buy us a little bit of time. They do have a 5/4 lifelinker that we need to get rid of. Let's go ahead and make the token. And uptick here to potentially just drain our opponent and gain some life. It's not like as crazy as it could be, but it's still going to buy us a little bit more time to potentially find the cards that we need. So we didn't really miss out too much from the witness cards that we saw there. And it looks like they have another Coco here, so still not out of this just yet. Let's go ahead and see what cards they can hit here. Okay, opponent's still deciding. And they end up with an Adeline and a Charming Prince. So the Prince could essentially blink the Lieutenant. Don't think that they have, anything else in the graveyard. So that's just going to grow. They are going to blink the Lieutenant here. They can play another creatures. And they can pump up their creatures now, but if they go after the Ob Nixilis, we don't really care too much. Okay, so they're actually going at us. So now we have to think about what blocks we need to make here. We're at 13. We have to block the 7/7 either way with the Cauldron Familiar. This is 14, 15, so we're kind of almost forced to have to block. We can block the Extraction Specialist and then sacrifice so they don't gain the life. We will be taking 9, going down to 4. Essentially 5 off the cat coming back. So we'll sacrifice the token to kill the token that's actually attacking our Ob Nixilis. And still going to be taking quite a bit of damage. We're at least going to stop our opponent from gaining life, so that's good. But we're in a pretty rough spot here. If we hit a Mayhem double, it feels pretty good just because the Ob Nixilis are going to be able to gain us some life, and we could potentially deal our opponent some damage. So we go down to 4. Essentially 5 because we're going to bring the cat back. Okay, just another land. The lieutenant's going to come back. It's going to make all the creatures bigger. So still in quite a lot of trouble here. But it's alright. We could even crack some food if we need to gain some life. If we lose one of the Obnix lists, we're only really gaining 2. That does put us back up to 7. But a lot of their creatures are mostly just looking like lethal here. We do hit the devil. So there's quite a lot of things we can do here. We'll go ahead and play the Mayhem Devil. We'll drain our opponent with the Obnixilis. The question is, do we want to play, or do we want to use one of the other Obnixilis for the Devil token? Just because it's more damage as well. We would be going up to 9, 10. We would be able to play the Witness as a blocker. I do think gaining the life is a bit better, actually. Let's go up to 9. We'll play the Witness. We're going to essentially try to kill the Lieutenant and maybe the Charming Prince. Make some blocks. Okay, it's going to be quite difficult, but we're still going to give it a shot here. See if we can at least live for one more turn. Okay, Adeline, pretty big, so we have to block here on both. Yeah, we can't take all that much damage, I think. It's just too much. So we can block here. We're going to let that one through. Block here. Block here. We're at 9. Yeah, it's still just too much. We can kill the Charming Prince. We almost have to block one of these, but even that's not enough. We'd go up to 11. Let's see. This is only 4. We have the Hive. That would be 7. Let's see here. Just trying to run some math here. So block here instead. Yeah, it's just looking like too much. I think we have to concede there. It's just too many attackers. I think we got close to stalling out, maybe like a little bit more, but I think that was still too far away. Colgan's command does deal 2 damage, but it costs 3. Might end up being a little bit too slow. It's got a couple Obnixilis, not really the matchup where it shines the most. Do we actually just want to cut them all? It does gain us some life. Maybe even like a Village Rites. The Witnesses just weren't really doing anything for us there, so maybe we just cut those and would rather just have more removal. We already have enough threats that can drain our opponent. I think we'll try something like this out and see how we do. They had a pretty fast start. Those collected companies definitely did us in. See what we can do here. Gonna be on the play this time. And we are gonna have to mulligan this hand. Okay, this is a lot better here. 2 Voltage Surge. I think we just put the Obnixilis back. And we hope that we can find a land and a sacrifice outlet for the Cauldron Familiar and the Mayhem Devil. Because then we can kind of set up our engine and essentially kill most of their cards continually. Yeah, I think we have to put the ob back here. It's not the best, but at least we also know that we only really have one we can get to as well in our deck now. I'm going to start it off with the cat here. Hold up the Voltage Surge. On turn 2, we draw a claim, but still no sacrifice outlet, so let's just come in for 1. Pass the turn back to our opponent, and we're just going to try to kill whatever they play and keep the small beatdown going. Hopefully draw a land for the devil. Ooh, Werewolf Pack Leader, pretty good here. Gets around us, being able to Voltage Surge. Do draw the land. So I actually think a red source here would be okay because we get to play both of our red cards if need be. Let's get the devil down and pass it back. So we're mostly just looking for any sacrifice outlet now. The oven would be ideal. Village Rites or Deadly Dispute wouldn't be bad. Okay, Adeline, so they're going to come in for 3. We get to block the 1/1. We're going to take the 3 here. Fatal Push. Okay. So we could take the pack leader and attack our opponent, potentially using the Voltage Surge if need be. If they block the cat, it's not really doing anything. So maybe we come in with the devil and the pack leader. We get to redraw a card. I feel like I kind of like that right now, and it also keeps us a bit aggressive. We're able to just kill the pack leader if we need to. Yep, just going to come in for 6, get a redraw, just to land. And they are just going to take it, go down to 12. So we get to play our land. Do we want to grab the Gigantha? I don't think so. I think we just pass it back here. They come in with the Adeline and the token. We're not really too worried about that. We're mostly just trying to drain them out here. Really looking for a sacrifice outlet. If they get rid of our Mayhem Devil, we could essentially just Fatal Push the Adeline as well. Looks like they have a Coco. Don't really think we have too much of a response here. We could Fatal Push the pack leader, but that's not really looking that great. Okay, so they do hit a Dauntless Bodyguard. So that is a bit unfortunate. Okay, they're just going to exile the claim. That's fine. Adeline's pretty big. But we could essentially... Do we want to just attack, let them attack? I think we just want to let them attack. They get the 1/1. I guess either way they're going to attack. No, we have to do this now. We have to do this now. So they're just going to sacrifice this to try to protect the pack leader, and then we can just Fatal Push it. And we get to deal a damage to, let's see, the Kudrow, because then we can Voltage Surge it. So we deal a damage here. Fatal Push the pack leader. Voltage Surge the Kudrow. We don't want to let them attack because they get to redraw. Yeah, and either way they're still going to attack us. No blocks. We draw another cat. Then we put Gigantha in our hand. Not the best, but not the worst. Still just looking for a sack outlet here. If we attack, Cauldron just dies. Or they just block here, go down to 10. That doesn't really seem all that productive. So let's go and see what our opponent's up to on this turn. If they have another Collected Company, obviously it makes getting through this a lot harder. Okay, Extraction Specialist. Going to get back the pack leader, I believe. Yep. Adeline then grows up to a 4/4. So we think we have to block with one of our Cauldron Familiars at this point. Wow, and a Lieutenant, okay. This actually seems like a pretty rough matchup, at least it could be, considering their creatures get pretty big. And they're going wide here, so let's block the 2/2. Block the Adeline. Can take the 1. We draw a Deadly Dispute. So we're definitely... Let's see, do we just play that now? Can potentially just shoot down the Lieutenant. Or... could do it at instant speed. Kind of in a rough situation, considering that if we just pass it back, they could go for the Coco either way as well. I think we just have to, though. I don't necessarily think that we have another out. We also have to stop them from gaining life. On the Specialist here, hoping for a Fatal Push from the Deadly Dispute. So block here, sacrifice. If we hit the Fatal Push, we'll get to kill the Adeline. I don't think that we can block that the Alley's Lieutenant in case they have a Collected Company, because then it'll just grow and kill the Devil. Archfiend's Vessel. We may also almost want to kill this now. It's kind of rough because then we don't really have like a block for the Adeline, and we'd be looking at taking a lot of damage. So I think we just have to let this resolve, unfortunately. The Lieutenant's going to get a little bit bigger. And they're going to get another token here, so the Lieutenant's going to get just a little bit bigger again. I still think we just have to wait because we have to make the blocks here. So let's block here. Or excuse me, we'll block. Ooh, I guess we can't take the 8 either. Oh, this is quite a bit of damage, so... high risk, high reward, honestly. I think that the game is almost just on this play alone. So... I think we're just going to have to try to go for it here and hope for the best. Do they have a Coco? If they do, it still gets pretty scary. Looks like they might. I mean, they have a stop, but could also be... let's see here. Could also be the pack leader, maybe. Alright, so let's try to go for the Deadly Dispute here. Sacrificing the Cauldron Familiar. We'll get to deal a point of damage to this 1/1. Let's save ourselves another point. 2 points because of the Adeline. We had another Mayhem Devil. We have a Deadly Dispute. So we can Deadly Dispute the Treasure Token. Taking quite a bit of damage here. Do we just kill the 1/1? Let's hit our opponent. It's a bit weird, but could try to do some crazy things next turn if we do hit the oven. We've got 2 devils. Still looking pretty rough. We're getting a couple redraws is nice. Still trying to hit this Fatal Push. If we do hit it, then we're just taking 4, which feels pretty good. Claim the Firstborn. Okay. So, what would we want to take? Taking 11, going down to 4. If they have a Collected Company, it's pretty rough either way. They're at 10. Thinking about... I guess we still want like an oven or another sacrifice outlet either way. That's really going to be relevant here. Yeah, it's going to take a big hit, go down to 4. I feel like this still gives us one of the better chances to win the game. And we hit a cat. So... let's see here. Can't attack or block. Could take the Adeline. ping the vessel. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I think we have to play the devil here. They have collected company. It's pretty rough, but I think we still just have to go for it. Let's claim the Adeline. We'll sacrifice this token for a black mana. Deal 1 damage here. 1 damage to our opponent. Play the cat. And then try to come in with all these creatures. And see if they do not have the Coco. Really hoping here. If they do, they do. And we actually get through with the lethal to take game 2 to force a game 3. So that was pretty close there. Just really hoping they didn't have the Coco. And we got pretty lucky, so that was a pretty good game there for us. What do we want here? Do we want to make any changes? I'm still just not sold on the Decklist, but the only other card we'd really want to bring in is the Colligans, and 2 damage just isn't going to cut it. It's just not going to cut it. Not for 3 mana. I'd rather have the life gain, I think, in the token. Let's see here. Yeah, I don't think I really want to make any changes. We got pretty lucky. The main reason we got through there was because the pack leader actually couldn't attack or block because of the extraction specialist. So that actually ended up being the main difference there. They only held back 1 blocker. So once we were able to kind of just get rid of the 1/1, you know, once we drew what we needed to draw and kind of did the math there, like, you know, realize that the Adeline essentially could just deal us, or steal us the game there by dealing quite a big chunk of damage. I don't think that we want to add anything here. Thoughtseize not good. Yeah, Colgan's just not really going to cut it. Just kind of just hope for the best here and try to hit some removal spells. And then our engine, we didn't have the engine there, so, you know, I really did feel like we stole the game there from our opponent, considering that we were pretty much dead on the following turn. And we only have 1 land here. I think we do have to mulligan this hand. Okay, quite a bit of land and a Mayhem Devil and the Village Rites. I don't believe that this is enough, though. We do have to go down to 5 here, I think. It's just a little bit too slow. Being on the draw is a bit painful. Okay, this is a lot better, but not the greatest. Could also keep the devil over the Deli Dispute. Yeah, I kind of like this. We at least have a sacrifice outlet. If we hit our 3rd land, we'll have the devil looking for a cat in between. We have a removal spell here. So kind of just hoping to bridge the gap with a land and potentially like a 1-drop creature. Or even like a Bloodtithe Harvester wouldn't be the worst thing in between. Just so that way we have something to sacrifice for the Mayhem Devil here eventually. Okay, hitting the claim also feels pretty good. Let's just start off with the Takenuma into the oven. Might also want to be patient here with the claim, considering that we have the devil in our hand. We might be able to just end up dealing a lot more damage that way. Opponent off to a slow start. Going to have to play this as a red land. Noxious Grasp for potentially an Adeline here. Okay, they do hit the Adeline, so do we just want to kill that? or take it with the claim. We do get a token. So I actually think that the claim is better here. Most of their creatures end up being green or white anyways. So I think I'd rather be a little bit more patient. And we do hit a tap land, so we're not able to play the Mayhem Devil either way this turn. So let's go and just claim this. Be able to get in for some damage, get a token out of the deal. And then sacrifice it to the Witch's Oven. And we'll go and pass the turn back to our opponent. So now we actually have some food for the Oven and the Devil. Okay, they get Initiate down. It's actually pretty good against us considering it can destroy like our Oven. Okay, Extraction Specialist. Doesn't get back a card, so we just let that resolve. Question is, do we want a Fatal Push here? I think that we do because we'll be able to wipe their board. Well, let's think about this. We're mostly trying to hit a land. Yeah, we just kill this. Yep, this is dead. We have a Deadly Dispute. Can make a block and sacrifice to the Deadly Dispute. But we would rather just get the Devil down. I think we'd rather get the Devil down. Could Deadly Dispute a food token? It makes mana for the Devil. Which in turn, let's see here. So we Deadly Dispute the food. Hit a treasure. If we hit a land off the Deadly Dispute, we're able to play the Devil. But then we're not really getting that much crazy value off of it. I kind of just like passing the turn back here, in all honesty, and being a little bit more patient. They could have a Collected Company. That'll be a bit annoying, but we still have a removal spell here for something. I think I feel a lot safer just having like a treasure and some other cards plus the Devil. Okay, they're going to come in here. So yep, we'll block. And go ahead and Deadly Dispute, sacrificing the token. Okay, we hit another Deadly Dispute, so we can play that. But I think it's better to wait, because we're going to have a lot more mana. Okay, so they're actually going to get back their, yep, Hopeful Initiate. They have 1 mana left. Okay, tap land. Let's go back to our turn. That was a great draw. We play this. As red. We play the Mayhem Devil. Let's see here. Yeah, I think we have to play the Mayhem Devil here. We'll Deadly Dispute. Sacrificing the food token. Hoping to hit a cat here, or a 1-drop. I think we just kill the Hopeful Initiate. It's kind of weird, but remove 2 counters from 1 creatures you control. Yeah, I mean, if they hit like a Thalia's Lieutenant, I don't want to get blown out by them just destroying our Oven. We can take a big hit for a turn. Wow, claim the Firstborn. So yeah, we're just going to do that. So let's take this creature here. We'll deal the damage here. And then sacrifice the creature that we just took to finish this off. And we'll sacrifice their creature to the Oven, so essentially they won't have a board. Still have a removal spell, essentially have the Gigantha to kind of grind it out there, so That was a pretty tough matchup. The first game, they had a really, really strong, fast start on us, so it was definitely hard to kind of overcome that. But as you saw, I mean, even that first game, we almost like prolonged the game to the point where we could have actually won. So pretty good victory for us. We'll see how we do in the next match. Pizza people, are you enjoying the content? Don't forget, subscribe to the channel. It's free. Hit that bell icon as well. That way, anytime any of our new content comes out, you're able to see it right away. Hey, leave a comment down below as well. Tell us what you're going to play in the next event, or tell us what you're enjoying about the video. Don't forget, check out the description too. We've got tons of great content down below. And on top of that, we're going to have our tournament schedule too. So get in on it. Hope to see you. Grinding our opponents down with some cats in the oven. We're on the play. And this hand's actually pretty weak. Not really much going on. We got a deli dispute and a witch's oven. It is quite the gamble if we keep it. We're not really doing anything, and it actually looks like we're in the mirror match. Let's think about this. Yeah, let's take a mulligan. Oh, this is actually a lot better. We can almost put a land back, mostly because if we are against mirror match, then I don't mind having 2 ovens, and I also don't want to lose. Oh, we could put the Haunted Ridge. Or do we want the Blight Step? I guess we still want the Blight Step, just because it comes into play untapped. So we'll start off with the Blood Crypt tapped, and then we can follow it up with the Witness plus the Oven. Yep, they have a Den, which is pretty good on their side, and we had a Swamp. I like that. So let's play the Witness, a Swamp, and our own Oven. Mostly looking to hit our engine first, looking for a cat, a Mayhem Devil, and potentially looks like maybe, I don't think that they kept a 1-lander, maybe they just don't have a play, or they're thinking here. Okay, they might have just only kept a 1-lander, and we'll play this as a red source. Let's come in for a point of damage here, play a Blood Tithe Harvester, a second Oven, and we'll pass it back. The best thing we can kind of hit here is like a Devil, and then, you know, if they start hitting land drops, hit their Devil, then we can just take it and have like a humongous turn. Okay, Unlucky Witness seems pretty good here. It potentially gives them the option to hit another land. And we do hit the Devil, so not bad. I think that we can actually... Well, we don't want to lose the cards. Either way, they're getting the cards. So I don't think that I want to waste the cards by just sacrificing the Unlucky Witness to the Oven here just for 3 damage. Like, that seems okay, but I think I'm just gonna be a little bit more patient here, and they still get to do this, so either way, we still get to deal them a point of damage. It's not really like that crazy. We're pretty lucky here that their land comes into play tapped. So we're gonna get to deal a huge chunk of damage here still, unless they top deck the land. But it doesn't look like they did. They do have a claim here, so we're gonna have to sacrifice the Devil. And we'll deal our opponent another point of damage. And come back to us. We have another Blood Tithe Harvester, which isn't bad. We'll get to come in for 4. And we still have this claim to essentially be like a removal spell. Mostly because they have the Oven. Okay, they do get the cat down, which is pretty good. And looks like they have try to have a removal spell for our Harvester, but we'll just sacrifice it here. Get a food token. We're down to 1 card, which is a bit rough. We're going to be looking for our own cat here. Okay, Blood Tithe Harvester. Can also sacrifice the Unlucky Witness to try to hit a Mayhem Devil, potentially. Let's think about this, though. So they're going to block here. We can still just chip in. They're going to get to regain a life, though. So we still want to get the Blood Tithe Harvester down. And I still think that we want to save this for the Mayhem Double. It just kind of seems like the best solution here. So let's just come in with both. Yep, just going to block there. So we kind of keep a little bit of parity with them gaining life. And us dealing them a damage. But then we get another decent threat on the battlefield that could be a removal spell as well. For anything that could give us a problem. Let's say they play like Woe Striders. And go ahead and pass a turn here. We're just going to get the cat back. That's fine. And we'll take the point of damage. Pass it back. So still stuck on 2 lands. Let's see if they drew their third. And they did. They'll pay the life for it. So that still feels pretty good. They play the devil. They're going to get to kill one of our cards. So they paid the life. Pretty surprised they didn't attack. Did they just have a Kolaghan's Command? It could be. No Kolaghan's Command yet. So yep, we're going to come in for some damage here. They're going to block one of the Blood Tithe Harvesters. We'll try to hit them for 4. They could gain some life off the food. That's okay. Do we want to play this Gigantha? I think that we do. So they're going to try to push that. Yep. We'll just sacrifice it. Get another food token. So essentially just dealing them a point of damage here that they're going to gain back from the cat. I think we still Gigantha. Play our land. We may almost be at the point where we want to cycle the claim, but still just don't want to lose to this Mayhem Double if they get to play it. And we're going to pass it back. And it looks like they have the Deadly Dispute here. And yep, just gonna let it happen. So yeah, it just looks like they mostly shocked for the Deadly Dispute there. And since they're just gonna gain back some life anyways from the Cauldron, it's not necessarily like too bad for them. Getting down a second Cauldron is kind of a problem for us here though. We definitely want Obnixilis here pretty soon. It'll also potentially redraw us. Ooh, looks like they have their Ob first, so a little bit of some trouble here by them getting their Planeswalker down. Okay, and they still have quite a bit of cards left as well. So they make a Devil. And then we'll decline here. They gain some life. Now we're getting drained a little bit, but see if we can swing it back on our opponent here. Okay, just think about whether or not we want to discard a card. Do we want to hit the land for the Gigantha? I think we just keep it still. Still hit the land. Naturally. Try to kill this, take a card, but then I can just get the cat back. Not really a good play. I think we'll just crack one of these blood tokens. Try to hit a card that's useful. Okay, Deadly Dispute isn't bad. If we attack the Obnixilis, either way we're losing this Blood Tithe Harvester. We don't have any creature lands in play. Can also sacrifice a food to draw some cards. That may end up being the best solution here. I think we have to attack. No, it still just doesn't seem right to attack. Let's sacrifice a food. And draw some cards, get a treasure. Okay, so we hit our own creature land, which feels pretty good. And the cat, so that kind of can keep a little bit of parity to a certain degree. We have 2 ovens, so either way we're dealing a little bit more. We could sacrifice this. Try to take the devil, but then they would shoot down our witness and we would lose some cards. That doesn't really feel all that great. And then they're just going to block here to protect their Ob Nixilis and do the cat loop. I think I just had to say go. I mean, even if they shoot down the witness, like, that's fine. And it just looks like they're going for the loop instead. So we got a little bit lucky there that they didn't just want to exile 2 cards off the top of our library. And it looks like, yeah, they're going to go ahead and cat us back. That's fine. So as you can see, I mean, with this deck, you know, you definitely have to think about your decisions quite a lot. And I think we're going to decline the first one. Do we want to get rid of the Gigantha? I don't think so. We can go down to 10. Okay, they hit a devil. So we're lucky here that we have our Claim the Firstborn for the devil. So let's see what they do. No attacks. Oh, so if we sacrifice our own cauldron, so it looks like we might have just had to have done that in response to the devil, because if we do it now, our harvester dies. We can't really have that happen, so let's just untap. And we hit an Ob Nixilis, so let's target the devil. Let's see if our opponent wants to loop here. And then we can get our own Ob Nixilis down. Okay, so they're actually just going to do that. We're actually pretty happy with it. They want to kill our witness, they can. They're more likely going to kill one of our cards. Okay, that's perfectly fine. Sacrifice the cat. And then we'll actually just get the cat back with one of our other food tokens. Go ahead and casualty the Ob Nixilis. Here, so the oven is actually tapped. So if we attack the Ob Nixilis, they're almost forced to block. Let's think about this. I think that we still just want to play Ob Nixilis, and as odd as it is, I think I just want to sacrifice his Blood Tithe Harvester and have it come in with a lot of loyalty. Can make 2 devils. Either way, we would lose one of the Ob Nixilis to this devil. I don't think that we want that to happen, though. We're better off, I think, just upticking on both of these. Even though we're not gaining the life back, our Ob Nixilis are still getting bigger. We can give it another turn. It's a bit risky, definitely. We can gain some life off our food if it has to happen. We'll do it. We also still have a loop off of one of the ovens that we have untapped. Okay, looks like our opponent is playing another oven. Yep, just gonna make us discard. I think we kind of just had to get rid of this Gigantha here. Well, we could make 2 food. Yeah, I think we have to get rid of the Gigantha. We'll take 2 damage from the other Ob Nixilis, but can't really take any more than that. Could swing out on our Obs, but we don't really care too much about that. Yeah, they're not really doing anything, so let's sacrifice this cat, gain a little bit of some life, make some food, do the loop a little bit. Try to get a good draw here, or maybe even downtick one of these Nixilis now, considering that they don't just die to a double token. Now, they could make another token off of their other ones, so that could end up being a problem. Okay, so we hit a 3rd oven here. We also have a den that we could activate, but I think I just like the 3rd oven here instead. And we also had the food tokens to gain some life back. Do we make a devil of our own? Still don't think so. I think we just uptick here. Kind of in a weird situation. Could den. Then attack here, but they have blockers for everything, and then they can just loop us. So not really too happy about that. I think we just had to say go. Could also get some redraws off the witness, but I think I'm just going to be a little bit more patient here. We could do that anyways on end step if you really want to. And we were getting pretty close to just dying here to the Ob Nixilis, so it's going to be a bit risky. We might almost just have to cat. In response to their first Planeswalker activation. Okay. And let's just pass it back here. Still have 2 backup foods, which makes blocking with the familiar if we need to pretty nice. Opponent just has lots of cards. Like, we have more of the engine technically, but they also just have more cards. I mean, 2 ovens on their side's pretty good too. Yeah, I think we have to do this now. It's a bit awkward, don't get me wrong. But I think that it's a little bit necessary here. Because I don't just want to die. We'll do another one. Just to be safe, going up to 9. And we still have the food activation, so I think that's okay. We can leave one of the ovens here. Yep, we're just going to go down to 5. And they have another Cauldron Familiar. I'm just going to gain the life here, go up to 8. Let's see if they have a response. No response, so we'll go down to 7. It's getting rough here. Our Ob Nixilis are at 5. If we make a Devil token... See if they have some attacks. I don't think they would, though. Yeah, let's sacrifice the Witness here to try to see what we hit. If we hit a Devil, wouldn't be bad. Okay, another Ob Nixilis and a Village Rites. I think we just play the Village Rites. Or we could also just gain a lot of life off of our other Ob Nixilis. I think we might actually just want to do that. Let's gain life here. Let's use our mana. I feel like that's probably the best thing to do. Is at least put ourselves a lot higher. Okay, so we hit a Deadly Dispute either way, which essentially would have been a Village Rites. And this is the real one. This is the token. So let's downtick on the real Ob Nixilis. We'll replay an Ob Nixilis, sacrificing the cat token. So we'll get 2 more here. And I believe this one just came in. So now we can uptick on our 3 Ob Nixilis. Okay, they have a Fatal Push here. So we're not really going to get to gain the life. Do we just Deadly Dispute now? I think that we do. Let's see. Think about whether or not they can kill our Obs. What do we want to deal the damage to? Their Devil. So then they have to downtick on their Ob Nixilis for a turn. I think that's fine. That's okay. Yep. Yeah, they're going to deal the damage there. We hit a Mayhem Devil. We haven't played a land yet. So now they could have a Fatal Push. I think that we play this as a black source. down tick on this Obnixilis. Play a devil. Okay, they didn't do anything about that. We'll uptick on this one here to gain some life. And now we can kind of just like shoot down all their cards if they decide that they want to do their trick here. And we also can shoot down their Obnixilis, I believe, if we want to. And then all they'll have is the ovens. I think that we want to try that. Let's try to do that now. So we'll actually shoot this one down. And they are going to try to go for the fatal push play. So we'll deal this 2 more damage. We'll get a food. Sacrifice this to deal this another point of damage. Sacrifice the cat to deal this a point of damage. Let's get it back. We still have a damage here on this Obnixilis, so I don't need to kill this. Or I don't need to deal this any more damage here. Get a sack, put this down to 1. So yeah, I mean we sack the devil to deal more damage. It would just be 1. Yeah, let's do this. Let's put the Obnixilis as low as we can get it. I think that's okay. Like, if they're pretty much going to get rid of one of ours, we're going to get rid of one of theirs and pretty much have their other one almost dead at this point. They only really get to uptick. They don't get a double from it. And we have 3 Obnixilis, 3 ovens. We're down to 14 minutes, though, unfortunately, so we may end up losing to us just not having enough time in this match to finish out. It's quite a bit, a lot of decisions here, though. Okay, so Cauldron back, yep. Gonna drain us a bit. So a little bit at the mercy of our opponent, considering we're at 13. Let's see what they have. They have another double. It's gonna be a bit rough. Okay, yep, just gonna attack the Obnixilis. No blocks, no reason to. It's just gonna die anyways. Rather keep the creature for our ovens. And we could potentially draw like a devil. It feels pretty good because then we can start the chain going again. Okay, deadly dispute from our opponent, sacrificing a treasure. They get some more redraws. Trying to see, they have 4 cards plus the cat. Okay, they do hit their own devil, so that is quite a bit unfortunate for us here. Okay, they get the cat back, so it looks like they are going to try to just kill our Obnixilis here. One of them at least. Our best draw would be devil, I believe. Fatal push wouldn't be bad. They tap both of the ovens, so I guess claim the firstborn would probably be the best thing there. So let's actually play this. Let's sacrifice it to try to get a couple of redraws. They'll deal some damage somewhere. If they want to deal it to the Obnixilis, that's fine. Yep, that's fine. Claims, and they're actually tapped out. So let's claim their devil. We will sacrifice our cat. Let's see here. Yep, sacrifice our cat. Deal a damage to their cat. We'll be able to uptick here, gain some life. Let's go ahead and attack their Obnixilis. Finish it off. Sacrifice the Mayhem Devil to kill their Cauldron Familiar. They don't have any creatures. If they wanted, they can activate their creature land. And I guess we could have actually gotten in for a little bit more damage there. A little bit of a mistake. Could have just got this back to deal another point. Or maybe even just sacrifice 2 food. But I think I'm okay with this. So let's go ahead and see what our opponent's up to. Kind of had quite a bit of a turn there. Looks like they're going to hive the Obnixilis, unfortunately. And if that's their turn, we're kind of okay with that. Yep, they're going to try to get rid of the cat. We'll just bring it back. I also have a creature now, though, to sacrifice to the oven if that's what they want to do. I feel like they probably will, considering that's like just one of their best options right now. There's no real need for... Wow, they're not going to. Wow, that's actually pretty big for us here. We get to attack. Deal a bit of damage, put them down to 6. Let's play the hive. And we'll actually pass it back. So there's still a possibility we could get through this game here. We fought through quite a bit of Obnixilis battle there. Okay, Blood Tithe Harvester, sure. They can still get back their cats whenever they want. They have 3 of them in the yard. Gonna put Gigantha into their hand. They have 1 mana left. And unfortunately, we're down to 12 minutes and 35 seconds here. So it's going to be a bit close. Alright, we're going to sacrifice our cat to deal them some damage potentially. Let's see what they got for us here. If they want to do theirs. Or if they just decide on taking the damage. And they're going to play it a little bit close here, it looks like. By just taking the damage. Okay, let's get this back. Put them down to 4. I think we could just do, I mean, they're just going to get back 1 cat, so it's not really like a big deal, in all honesty. It's not as crazy as it could be. We'll hit them for another point here, get them down to 3. And then we essentially have 3 damage off of our oven, so let's go ahead and try to claim this. And it looks like they're just going to sacrifice it to that. But we just respond by trying to kill our opponent here. And let's go ahead and deal them a point. Put them down to 2. I think they just waited too long to do the oven. They needed to respond... to us doing it at their end step to kind of gain a little bit more life. Because now they put themselves in a situation where we're just going to respond, and that's kind of just the end of the game. You know, we waste a little bit of some time off the clock here as we're kind of talking about it, but our opponent ends up conceding. So, take down game 1. Definitely a huge slog there. I mean, that was a crazy game. I think that we want potentially like the Croxes here. K commands. Let's take a look. I definitely want the Croxa. I just think that that's one of our best grindy cards. The K command seems good because we're able to destroy an artifact on their side. The Unlucky Witnesses are okay. I think we can cut a couple. We might almost want to cut a Fatal Push if we're bringing in the K commands. But I also like having ways to just kill their Mayhem Devil, which is the most important thing. Let's cut... Oh, Obnix is pretty good too. Let's get rid of some Blood Tithe Harvesters. The card seems a little bit unimpressive in this matchup. It's good against the Devil, but I mean, if we're just going to have hard removal, then hard removal is just better. I actually think we're just going to get rid of all of them and play the Unlicensed Hearse instead. I think I like that better. It does mean that there's a lower chance that we'll be able to crew the Hearse eventually, but I still like having the option to just exile their cards. And let's see here. I think that we just keep this configuration. Like, do we want the Voltage Surge? Like, if they keep their Blood Tithe Harvester, it's not really like a big deal. I don't really care about it. Let's just try to grind them out. I mean, we don't really have that much time left on the clock either. I think we have like 11 minutes, so... It's definitely going to be a grind fest here. Let's see if we can make it happen. We're up a game. If we, if it seems like we're going to lose real quick, then we probably want to just concede rather than trying to flip the game around. But that was definitely a hell of a first game one, and we're definitely keeping this hand. This hand's great. We have all the cards that we want in this matchup. Our Croxas, the Village Rites, the Ovens. Opponent's going to start off with the Cat. And I think I'm just going to start off with the Oven here. Kind of giving us a chance to draw an untapped land for the Cat rather than draining ourselves a couple points here, because it looks like our opponent actually had the same idea here with the Croxa. So we're actually just going to get rid of our Croxa here. They're going to get in for 1 point of damage. Essentially, we'd go down to 16. And I actually like taking their Cat. Or do we save it for the Devil? Let's see. If we save it for the Devil and we play our Devil, we're not going to have enough to kill it. It's a bit awkward, but I think I got to say go here. They could have an Oven. That's fine if they do. I think I'd rather just save this for the Devil, though. Like, we don't want to take any risks here. And let's see if they have it. Colligan's Command. We discard a card. So let's get some value that we can now off of this. And we have to discard a card. Do we want to discard the Village Rites? I think that's okay. Yep, there goes the Witch's Oven. If they attack, we just take it. Yeah, that's fine. We'll go down to 16. We'll get our Cat back. Or do we want to try to draw a land for the Devil? Yeah, let's try to draw a land for the Devil. Okay, we hit Hearst instead. Yeah, we got a Hearst here, and then just get rid of the Croxa. Or we can wait, be a little bit more patient. They can't get the Croxa back next turn. They have another Colligan's Command, it's kind of rough, because then they can just get their Croxa back in response. I think I'm just going to get rid of both of their cards now, just to actually play it a little bit safe here. And we'll pass it back. Really looking for our third land, because then we'll be able to hit this Ob Nixilis. I still just want to wait with this Cauldron Familiar, don't just want to blow it right away. Opponent just has Gigantha, we'll go down to 15. No attacks, we do hit the third land here. So we'll play our Mayhem Devil. Sacrificing this for the Cat to shoot their Cat down. They don't have any responses here. Still no responses looking like, so no. No Fatal Push, got pretty lucky there, so let's go pass it back. We actually have a way to crew the Hearse now as well. We have 3 cards in the yard. And we also have our Obnixilis potentially coming down. They're just going to claim. Okay, they could have a pretty big turn here. Going to attack, no blocks. We'll go down to 14. think they just have a deadly dispute. Obnixilis. Wow, so they actually have a pretty good turn here. Gonna get to shoot down our cat. So a little bit rough. They did have a pretty good card here. We're just gonna decline. Village Rights is not bad. So what do we want to do here? So let's think about this. We can Obnixilis down tick. I think we just want to try to kill their Obnixilis though. So let's take this card. It's a bit awkward, but I just think that we have to do this. Let's attack this Obnixilis here. Use this Village Rights now. Try to get a good redraw. Yep, kill this. Draw some lands. We have 7 cards in the yard, so we can bring back the Kroxa next turn. So it's going to be a race between Gigantha, Kroxa, and Obnixilis, it's looking like. We can discard this land. Probably going to play the Gigantha, yep. And we'll just exile both of the cards in their graveyard, make this a little bit bigger. And we hit a land. That's not really as relevant as it could be. Let's go ahead and exile some cards and get this Kroxa back. Opponent has 1 card left, so we'll be able to discard that. And let's see what it was. It was a land, so they actually take 3 damage. I think we'll keep this land to be able to discard to the Obnixilis. Opponent also has no creature lands, so we might have a chance with this Kroxa here. Okay, down tick, making a devil token, that's fine. 1 card in their hand, and it ends up being another Obnixilis. Wow. Alright, well, here we go. It's going to be quite the battle here between Obnixilises and Kroxas. And we're also going to have a pretty big Hearst here. Another devil. We'll discard this land. And we'll exile 2 cards from the graveyard. Make this a 7/7. Untap, hit a Mayhem Devil. Maybe we just play the Mayhem Devil. Crew the Hearst. And then we have to attack. Let's attack our opponent. This is quite a bit of damage here. To go down to 9. We still have 1 card we can discard, so we'll take 4, go down to 7. It's a bit rough, but maybe manageable. Okay, gonna discard the Obnixilis. Yep, gonna take some more damage here. Okay, their own unlicensed Hearst. That's fine. They might just get rid of the familiar. Okay, not yet. We hit a Witch's Oven. Quite the interesting card here. Question is, do we want to play it out? I think we have to discard here. So let's crew with the Mayhem Devil. Attack our opponent back. Well, we actually have to attack one of the Obnixilis or we just lose here. Kind of a shame, but gotta do it here. They'll take 3. Still have a chance here. Yep, one of the Obnixilis is dead. We'll go ahead and put Gigantha into our hand. We can also play this to sacrifice the Hearst. We'll get 2 food tokens. Shooting down ob or their creature for them to not gain any life, but then we take 4, run the risk of losing to the Hearst. Quite the dilemma here. So they can make this a 2/2. I think we just have to pass. I don't think that we can play the oven. Like, I would really like to, but I just don't think that we can. Either way, they would, like, the cat I'm not really too worried about. I think I'm mostly just worried about having to discard too many cards to these Obnix lists. Because I think that that's what could end up making us lose the game here. And let's get rid of the oven. Yep, let's get rid of this here so we don't lose any life. They gain life, though. And they hit a tap land. It's actually a really good one, though. They can't crew. They only have 1 blocker. And we're at 7. We have to discard this card. I think that we attack with Croxa at one of the Obnixilis. Still a bit rough here. Let's see if they just block. Yep, they are just going to block. Okay, so a bit fortunate there that they are blocking. If they want to get rid of some cards from our graveyard, that's fine. We still have the option to crew our Hearst here. We could end up taking 3. Like, the game's going to be pretty close. Yep. Going to get rid of both of those cards. And we're also down to 4 minutes here on the clock, so it's going to get really close here. Oh, and they just have a claim. So yeah, we kind of just like have to crew here. They get to untap. Okay, yep, that's going to happen. So let's see. We got to let our opponent play it out here. Yep, discard this. They're at 15. We'll go down to 4. They'll crew there. And they can attack with both. But we can block the devil. We have to block the devil. Yep, that's going to happen. So we'll block here, make this bigger. Right now we're hoping to just top deck. Let's see, my graveyard. Yeah, we'll actually just make it a lot bigger. Let's get rid of both of these. Really just hoping to hit any big creature here. Okay, they're going to respond by doing that. That's fine. That's fine. No big creature. So, yep, we're actually dead here. So, unfortunately, it looks like we only have 4 minutes to play out game 3. So, let's go and see if we can try to get a quick win. I mean, we had a really good start. Unfortunately, the Obnixilis definitely wore us down that match. I think we just keep our configuration. It's not bad. We hit all the cards we needed to hit. It's always going to be a close game when it's the mirror match. And I'm not really sure if playing the oven in that one turn would have been better. Like I said, we still would have had the cat exiled with their unlicensed Hearst. So, like, the best thing that we were hoping for there was maybe like using the Mayhem Devil to ping their devil or to potentially try to ping down their Obnixilis. I'm not sure if that was worth like 2 more life just because we were already so low on life. It's definitely quite the grind fest, though, as you can tell from these mirror matches. I mean, at least, you know, we're definitely getting to game 3, so not too much time, so we kind of have to make some quick decisions here. Definitely quicker than normal. And we'll be on the play. We have to mulligan. We can keep this hand. It's a bit rough, but I don't want to go down anymore here. And let's go and start off with a black source, pass it back, play our mountain into potentially this Culligan's command. Okay, pass it back. And then Obnixilis into Obnixilis. So let's see if our opponent has a play. And the clock's definitely our enemy here, unfortunately. See each opponent. So luckily we don't have to target with the ob. It's just an uptick. And let's see what our opponent's up to here. Looks like they're kind of just thinking about what they want to do, maybe. Yep, got a cat down to 19. And no oven yet. Okay, so we just play the Haunted Ridge. Pass turn back. We have a Colligan's Command that we're just going to hold up here. Tap land from the opponent. And we're going to do 2 damage and discard a card. Drain them a little bit of their resources. And the opponent still has quite a bit of cards left, but not bad, grinding them down just a little bit here. And we hit a swamp, that's fine. Let's go just play our Ob down and make a devil token. I think that that's best, mostly because we're going to be able to play the other Ob Nixilis on the following turn to get 2 of them. Okay, they just tap out for a devil, and we hit a Witch's Oven. So we have quite a bit of options here. We're going to uptick on this Ob Nixilis regardless. Let's see, can we deal this 3 damage? I don't think that we can, but we're going to try to here. Let's sacrifice the token. Can we deal this a point of damage? I think it's better if we just try to go face here. Yeah, they're just going to shoot that down. That's fine. Okay, we hit a claim, so let's claim. We get to play a red source. We'll attack with our devil, or excuse me, the opponent's devil. We'll play an Ob Nixilis, casualtying the other, or excuse me, casualtying the devil. Keeping the new Ob Nixilis, we'll get to deal a couple damage here as well, which feels pretty good. So we're going to keep the new one, and we'll just let's down tick one, up tick the other. Get our opponent down to 11, and then we have 2 ovens here to potentially help with this devil, and then we can even make another one if we need to, or just keep our Ob Nixilis here. So now we kind of flip the script a little bit. 2 minutes left, so we're definitely in some time here to try to finish this game as fast as we can. Okay, another Ob Nixilis, so let's uptick here either way. We'll go ahead and this is the real one, down tick here. We'll play a new Ob Nixilis, casualtying the devil token. We'll go ahead and shoot this down here. So they can shoot down. Looks like they'll probably shoot down our other Ob Nixilis. Let's keep the new one. Let's uptick here on this one. Okay, we'll play an oven. Down tick on this Ob Nixilis. So we're going to lose 2 of our Ob Nixilis here, but we're going to get rid of the devil. Yep. And we get to keep one of our Obs. Opponent's at 9. We might have almost wanted to just use our Ob Nixilis to drain them, but they have cards in hand, so it's not a guarantee. We still have 1 Planeswalker down and a Gigantha. They're at 9. We're down to a minute here, though, so we might not be able to get through this match, honestly. I mean, we did pretty decent for where we were at, I think. If the match kept going on, then we might have been okay. Okay, looks like they just have the Colligan's Command, so either way, they get rid of all the Bobs that we had. So let's try Gigantha Beats. Gonna say go. No creature land, which is a bit unfortunate. Okay, they do have their own Cauldron Familiar. That's fine. We're just gonna have to click through this as fast as we can. Ooh, and they have the oven. Ooh. So yeah, quite a bit of time for us to have to play through this. It looks like we're just gonna get lose here to them mostly just having that K command there and that timely turn. And let's pass it back. And they have a block here. They're going to waste some time off of our clock with some triggers. So you can definitely see how grindy the mirror match is. Our opponent looks like they are a little bit more well-versed in it. We did get to 3 games here with this deck, so I definitely hope you've enjoyed the grind fest and maybe learned a little bit more about this deck, or at least taught you a little bit something if you're trying to play it for the first time. But you know, you don't want to take all the time like we did, but you definitely want to make sure that you take enough time to have some good decisions against your opponent. Ooh, village rights. I think that we do that. Let's just see if we can hit something good here. Double Croxa. Okay, so Croxa. And we can get back Croxa, but unfortunately we don't have enough time to get to do the thing here. And yep, we'll get the Croxa again. And we even would have gotten Croxa back, so I actually think that we might have been able to grind this game out against our opponent, considering we top decked the double Croxa there. 6 seconds left on the clock, and they're pretty much going to be gone when we get this Croxa back. Yep. So we ended up losing to our own clock, but I mean, we had a pretty good chance to steal that game from our opponent. So as you can see, the mirror match is definitely a grind fest. We'll see you in the post-game wrap. And we're back here for the post-game wrap. So as you saw, even though we made a couple mistakes here and there with the deck is actually so powerful that as long as you're still doing your best to maintain the most value and kind of, you know, take time in the lines that you take, you're going to have a really huge advantage with this deck and have game pretty much against anything. As you saw, the better that, you know, you're getting with the deck means that you're going to take a lot less time in making your decisions, unlike I did there in the third match where fortunately we might have actually just won that match, but we lost because we just ran out of time. But overall, I think this deck is just solid. It took down a tournament. I think that you're going to have great success with this deck on the ladder, especially if you're already used to these cat oven or sacrifice type strategies, maybe like an anvil type deck. But I just think that this is easily a tier 1 deck right now in Explorer. Before maybe some other cards come into Explorer, turn it more into like Pioneer, and then maybe this deck gets toned down a bit. But for now, I think that it's a great deck to rank up with. I think if you're trying to rank up quick, maybe not necessarily unless you know what you're doing with the deck, then I recommend that. But overall, I think it's just a really solid competitive option. And most of the deck is actually pretty easy to craft. I mean, you're looking at 4 mythics, 4 rares, 1 rare here. Mostly commons and uncommons here, and anything that's below our 3 mana. And then you mostly just have a few rare lands, and you know, I'd say the creature lands are necessary, but maybe you can maybe even substitute something for these. And your sideboard has a little bit more rares and mythics with the Croxas, the Thoughtseize, the Unlicensed, and the Kolagans, but overall it's not really even like an expensive deck to craft, so I definitely recommend it overall, considering that you know that this is going to be a deck that's going to be around for a long time. But if you enjoyed the content, made it this far, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, bell notification, leave a comment, like the video down below. Would be greatly appreciated. Check all my content in the description as well. And you can also find in the description information for all the tournaments that we hold. We hold 3 a month. All are free to play. On the 28th of this month, we actually have a free to play standard event. And we're going to have our schedule for September as well pretty soon. So appreciate you watching and stay cheesy.